Hey, brothers and sisters, Francis Enros bringing a short word. I got away today to go and pray for a little while and then read. And my wayward son called me and interrupted me. And I love my son so much. I think my father just wanted me to spend some time with my son. So we talked for about an hour, and then I came home to shoot the video. And well, let's see how it goes. I'm in 1 Peter 2:9, and he says, But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, his own special people, that you may proclaim the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Now let's take a look at that again. You know, a lot of what I like to do is about your identity, understanding who you are. You know, it's one thing to be confident. It's another thing to be confident in who you are in Christ Jesus. It's a whole different kind. It's just a whole different kind. And it's not an arrogant confidence, because remember, the Jews, they always walked around special. You know, the Jews always had this attitude. You know, I've been in business forever, and I had Jewish customers whose kids were just different than the regular kids in my business. And I had secular kids, and I had kids that were raised in Christian homes, that from the beginning were raised up, but none of them had the attitude of the Jewish children. They walked around not rudely. They're all actually very respectful and very polite, but they walk around with this attitude of, I'm a child of the Most High God. I'm special. They grow up just assuming they're going to be owners of banks and CEOs. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, and there may be some out there. I don't know of any. I've never met a Jewish person from a Jewish home, a Jewish kid who is strung out on drugs or homeless or just a mess. Never met one. I never met one. And it's almost like they have this sense of victory, sense of success that's bred in them because they know who they are. See, they understand their identity. But if their identity is good, how much more ours? I mean, listen to what he says here. We are a chosen generation. We're the chosen ones now. We are. A royal priesthood, a holy nation, his own special people. We're the apple of God's eye now. We are. We are. And if you're parents, you need to burn this into your children's head. They should grow up knowing this, that they're special. They're a royal priesthood. You know, they're his own special people. Why? So that we may proclaim the praises of him who called us out of darkness into his marvelous light. So that we can proclaim the praises of him. I think that's pretty awesome. I just think that's awesome. He goes on to say, he says, you who once were not a people, but are now a people. Sorry, I had to get that. Who were once not a people, but are now the people of God. We're not just a people, we're the people of God. And that word "the" just kind of jumped out at me. Just like, you know, look at it again. Look at it more closely. We are the people of God who had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. See, we have a special place in God's heart, y'all. We have a special place that no one else does. Not even the Jews. Not even Jews. And they're, you know, I know the word says that they're the apple of his eye. I get that. But what are we? What are we? If they're the apple of God's eye, well, he tells us here, a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, his own special people. You know, we've obtained mercy. We've obtained mercy. What is mercy, y'all? Man, mercy's great. I don't even have to define mercy. Everybody knows what mercy is. You know, I was driving down the street one day, and I got pulled over by a cop, and you know, my whole family was with me, and he pulled me over. I don't think I was driving too fast. It was just down a side street. I was going the same speed as everybody else. He pulled me over, and he says, "Do you realize you were doing a 41 in a 35?" And I was like, "No, no, no, I didn't." License, registration, and I reached in my wallet and I pulled out my license. And as I handed him my license, I said, "Hey, how about a little grace and mercy today?" And I put emphasis on the word mercy. He goes, "Why?" I go, "It's my birthday." And I handed it to him, and he kind of took my license and he goes, it's a little bigger, but he goes, and he looks at it. "All right, have a nice day. Happy birthday." And he let me go. And it was just funny. We just kind of chuckled at it because I got made fun of because I always get out of tickets. Although I did get one the other day, but I normally always just, for some reason, I just like, I'll always ask him, "Hey, if you don't ask for mercy, you'll never get it. It doesn't hurt to ask, right?" So I got a hold of this thing, and I just ask. I ask for mercy. See, now we have obtained mercy. He said, "Beloved, I beg you as sojourners and pilgrims, abstain from fleshy lusts which war against the soul, having your conduct honorable among the Gentiles, that when they speak against you as evildoers, they may, by your good works, which they observe, glorify God in the day of visitation. Therefore, submit yourselves to every ordinance." And this talking about, we're just supposed to submit ourselves to government. Hey, Satan runs the government, and, basically he's just saying here, look, if you're not doing evil, you probably aren't going to be in trouble. As we get closer to the end, there's nothing we're going to do to be able to get away from it. And he says, "And don't use liberty as a vice to sin." He says, "Honor all people, love the brotherhood, fear God, honor the king." He says, "Servants, be submissive to your masters." Now this goes into employees. If you're an employee, you should be the best employee that your employer has. Your attitude ought to be that he can count on you. If he's got a job and it's kind of a, one of those, he's concerned about it getting done right, he ought to think of you. Because we're believers. We have to have a higher standard than everybody else. Everybody else is looking to punch in and punch out and go home. We're believers. We have to set examples for everybody else. What does a believer look like? Oh, he looks like him. Man, that guy, what is it about him? He's a Christian. That's the way people ought to think about us. We go above and beyond. Whatever it is, we're supposed to do the right thing. He says, "For what credit is it when you are beaten for your faults, you take it patiently? But when you do good and suffer, if you take it patiently, this is commendable before God." So remember, I told you when the apostles got beaten, they wore it like a badge of honor. We might get looked down on. We might get talked about behind our back. Maybe the boss pulls us in and scolds us because we laid hands on somebody and prayed for him. These people were facing lions. They got flogged. I mean, they had some real trials. John got burned, boiled in oil. This stuff was serious back then. He says, for to this you are called. So we were called. We're called to suffer. Basically, he's saying you are called to suffer for Christ. So I want to encourage y'all, start wearing these sufferings like a badge of honor. And I don't want to look, I'm not trying to be like, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Because, look, I know. I know. It's tough. It's tough. And we want to go home. But our Father needs us, man. This is, we're in the 9th inning. I know the World Series just ended, but we're in overtime. If anybody watched the Astros and the Dodgers, that was a great World Series. At one point, went into 13 innings. The score was 13-12 or 11. I don't know. But it went into extra innings, and the score was 11-12. It was awesome. So we're in extra innings here. But we are instructed to suffer for Christ. So I want to encourage you, those of you that are suffering, man, don't let it get you down, but wear it like a badge of honor, because everything you do that causes you to suffer for Christ will be rewarded in heaven. And the reward will be hundreds of millions and billions and trillions of times more than we could ever imagine. I told you that one time I prayed for that lady, and when my friend was going through the thing with the brain tumor, and the Lord told me to tell his parents to pray for all the people in the waiting room, that that if we took care of his children, God's children, God would take care of their children. And when I told them, they were just like, they just blew me off. And he told me, he said, if they won't do it, you will. So the first person I went and prayed for, God showed me her entire life. And her entire life, she was a giver. She was full of love. And she had been loving Jesus since she was 4 years old. But everybody used her and everybody abused her. And she was so sweet. And I saw all of this in her. All I did was hold her hand. It was like her entire life flashed before my face. And she never got a bad attitude about it, even though she knew people were using her. They would take money from her. They would steal her time and her effort and her energy and just suck her dry. I mean, they just, just drained her of everything. She never stopped doing it because she did it because she loved Jesus, and that everything that she had done had stored up such riches and treasures in heaven that Jesus just wanted to know, I watched everything you did. I saw it all. And everything that you did unselfishly, I saw it. And I made a record of all of it. And when you come to me, you are going to be so blessed. And she was 99 years old. And I told her, I said, you got a birthday coming up. And you're going to be, I didn't. I said, because I could tell she was old, and I thought I saw 99, but it's an old person, they're 99. I said, you're going to be 100 soon. That's what I said. She goes, yeah, my birthday's coming up. That's what I said. I said, you're going to be 100 soon? She's like, yeah, my birthday's coming up. Am I going to see it? I was like, yeah, you're going to see your birthday. But it was so cool. But see, she didn't let those people get her down. She just did what she knew to do, and that's what he's saying here. This is our job. Our job is to suffer for Christ. He says, for this you were called. We were called to suffer for Christ. So I want to encourage you, suffer for Christ with a good attitude. If you complain when you're beaten, when you deserve it, that's one thing. He said, but if you take it, what he says is if you take your beating patiently when you deserve it, that's nothing like when you take it patiently when you don't deserve it. So have a good attitude, everybody. I'm going to keep doing this from time to time. I'm doing these shorter videos. And I just wanted to come on and say hi and encourage you. I know where we are. I know it. It's like everybody's down because they don't see it. And the fact that you don't see it is what encourages me. The fact that I don't see it. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. The fact that I don't see a date, the fact that I don't see, an event, that's what gives me encouragement. Because I got to tell you, I don't know. I just want to encourage y'all. Man, have a good attitude. Chug along. Do your thing. For this cause. We've got a cause. We're standing for a cause. What is the cause? Bringing people to the gospel. Shedding the light for people. Being a light to people. Even if you're not preaching the gospel, just show them what a Christian looks like. I'm going to finish with this. And I love this story. Smith Wigglesworth is reputed to have raised 24 people from the dead. They say that nobody walked more like Jesus than Smith Wigglesworth, and that he raised more people from the dead than Paul. Okay, and Paul's the bomb. So here's this guy, Smith Wigglesworth. Was he always like that? No, he used to be a heathen. Well, what happened to Smith Wigglesworth? How did Smith Wigglesworth turn into that mighty man of God? Smith Wigglesworth, I'm having trouble with his name today, had a wife. He had a wife. He had a wife who loved Jesus. Smith was a miserable cusp, but he had a wife who loved Jesus, who used to go to church a lot. And she liked to go to church on Wednesday night. And she came out of the room all dressed up to go to the church, the story goes. And Smith goes, where are you going? She said, I'm going to church. He said, no, you're not. You stay home and make me dinner. She said, Smith, I made you something. All you got to do is warm it up. It's in there. Take care of it. I'm going to church. No, woman. And then what happened was pride rose up in him. Even though he did have dinner, that was just an excuse. He wanted to control her. And she said, I forbid you. You're not going to church. She said, Smith, I love you, but nothing comes between me and Jesus. Kissed him on the cheek and left to go to church. He said, as she's walking out, he said, if you walk out that door, I will lock it on you tonight. Okay. So he eats his dinner. He gets sleepy. He locked the door when she left, to prove a point to her. She walks out. He goes, shoom, shuts the door, locks it. And he eats his dinner, and he goes to bed, falls asleep. And in the morning, he wakes up, and he realized his wife is not next to him. Oh, my God. He's like, oh, my gosh, what have I done? He goes running to the door, and he unlocks the door, and he opens the door, and there's his wife sleeping on the stoop. Now, this is what she did. She stands up. She kind of wakes up. She stands up. She goes over to him. She kisses him on the cheek, and she says, good morning, Smith. What would you like for breakfast? And she proceeded to make him breakfast, and he said, that was it. That was it. He was done. He was like, how could anybody love me that much? Remember we talked about this the other day, man? That's that unconditional kind of love. Man, you got to love people with that unconditional kind of love. Whether they do you wrong or not, you got to just love them. She loved him to Jesus, and that was it right there. He said he melted. His heart just melted, and he said, I want to be like her. I want that kind of love. I want to know what that's like. And it changed his life. So I want to encourage y'all, just by the way you treat people with unconditional love can change the whole world, because Smith changed the whole world that he was in. All right, y'all, I want to say I love you guys. It was a 16-minute video, and it's Saturday night, and I'm going to go. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.